A top AEW star has signed a brand new contract, but first, a former AEW wrestler is set to sign for WWE. Earlier this month, news broke that former MLW World Tag Team Champion Brian Pillman Jr. had hit the free agency market. This is when his All Elite Wrestling contract came to an end. Just days after, he was then spotted training at the WWE Performance Center, although there was no word on if any kind of deal had been agreed with the company. Well, that has now changed, as according to a report from BodySlam.net, Brian is now close to putting pen to paper on a WWE contract, and Cassidy Haynes would write, "In an update to the situation surrounding Brian Pillman Jr. and his WWE status, sources have told me that a deal is in place or is in the process of being finalized before it can officially be signed. Sources have also indicated that Pillman Jr. will be moving to Orlando, Florida by the end of August, where he'll report to NXT and begin training at the WWE Performance Center full-time." The report adds that Pillman Jr. has cancelled non-wrestling commitments that were scheduled for later in the year, which are said to have had some significant ties with AEW talent and coaches. With his schedule now seemingly cleared, Brian Pillman Jr. looks set to join the WWE Performance Center full-time ahead of a potential NXT debut later down the line. He will join a list of many stars on the NXT roster that have wrestling parents, including Bron Breakker, the son of Rick Steiner, Ava, the daughter of The Rock, and Charlie Dempsey, the son of William Regal, as well as many more. And just quickly before we continue, be sure to check out my latest video, 10 Facts MJF Doesn't Want You to Know, something I've been working on for many months at this point. In the video, we pose the question of who is the real Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and is the persona we see the real him? I guarantee you'll learn a whole bunch of things about the man that claims to be better than you, just don't tell him I told you so. And next, a popular AEW star has taken on a new backstage role. Orange Cassidy has been one of the most active wrestlers on the All Elite roster this year, with him defending his AEW International Championship on a regular basis. On top of this, it looks like his duties are increasing further, this time outside of the ring, as according to a report coming from Fightful Select, Cassidy has also been working as a road agent and producer, and the report notes, "In addition to keeping a busy schedule in the ring and as AEW International Champion, Fightful Select has learned that Orange Cassidy has also picked up work as a producer/agent in All Elite Wrestling. We've specifically learned that he produced recent matches between Infantry vs Kingdom and Big Bill and Brian Cage vs Matt Sydal and Trent." The report adds some bonus details on what Cassidy's role pertains, as it also reveals that agents are on headset during matches that they are producing, seemingly in communication with the referee, in order to ensure that directions are being sent to ringside, as well as timing cues, and to help talent with the matches that are laid out. They also have direct contact with the television production crew. But what do you make of Orange Cassidy's new backstage role? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, more matches have been added to SummerSlam. Last night, WWE would present the latest episode of Monday Night Raw, where former WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler would agree to fight at the upcoming Premium Live event, this after weeks of back and forth interactions since their split at Money in the Bank on July 1st. Raw would also see an in-ring promo from Ricochet, who would issue a challenge to social media star Logan Paul, in what is easily the one and only's highest profile feud to date. Logan would then show up to accept the call for a match between the two, before an attack from behind was scuppered, with Ricochet managing to score a standing shooting star press on his downed upcoming opponent. The third and final match that was confirmed last night came after a face-off between WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther and the recently returned Drew McIntyre. Former WWE Champion McIntyre would then go one-on-one with Ludwig Kaiser, with the Scottish psychopath coming out on top, this before he was wiped out by the rest of Imperium after the match. And now for our final story from Raw, a popular WWE superstar is legitimately injured. Elsewhere on last night's edition of the Red Brand, NXT North American Champion Dominic Mysterio would defend his title against current undisputed WWE Tag Team Champion Sami Zayn, and during the contest, Kevin Owens, Damian Priest, and WWE Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley would be ejected from ringside. However, Priest would drag Owens back out onto the entrance stage later in the match, which caused a distraction, allowing Dirty Dom to pick up the pinfall win over Zayn. Owens was then later seen in a backstage segment where he was said to be suffering from rib and arm injuries. According to WRKD Wrestling on Twitter, Owens is in fact suffering from a legitimate injury, with WWE opting to use this as part of an ongoing storyline, and they would write, Kevin Owens has suffered a legitimate injury that is being used to advance the story. It is currently unclear how long he'll be sidelined. We would then receive a follow-up from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, who revealed the details behind the injury, and he would say, it's a fractured rib. He's actually been working on it for a while, and it was just one of these things where they were waiting for a time to finish up whatever they were finishing up, and they were going to do. I don't know if they were always going to do this angle, but they were going to do something. He's going to get a rest. I don't know how long, and I don't know what the status of the tag team titles are. I'm sure that'll probably all be addressed in the next couple of days. But he's been working on a legit injury, so that's the basic gist of the story there. Owens has held both main roster WWE tag team titles since he and Sami Zayn's win over the Usos in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, with there being hope that they won't necessarily have to be stripped of the belts. According to various medical sources online, a fractured rib recovery should take a matter of weeks and not months, but we'll have to wait and see how things play out going forward. Next up, we have the latest on the location for WrestleMania 41. In April 2024, WrestleMania goes down in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, although the spot is still open to host the 2025 edition of the show. According to a fresh report from Fightful Select, the decision looks to have been made, with Mania seemingly heading to one of the Twin Cities, and the report notes, Fightful Select has learned that Minneapolis has been discussed within the company as a possible and even likely location for WrestleMania 41 in 2025. Minneapolis city planners had actually leaked the news to local media, but when Fightful asked WWE officials months ago, they confirmed that Minneapolis was one of the several cities that had interest. As far as the venue itself, WWE looks set to host the show at the Minnesota Vikings US Bank Stadium as opposed to the Target Field, this due to temperature and potential clashes with the baseball season. WWE is set to regard the 73-seater stadium as a world-class venue, with the owners looking to be more aggressive in booking non-Viking related events. Fightful would also reveal that Tampa is considered the frontrunner for the 2025 Royal Rumble, something that PW Insider also recently reported. And next, this AEW star is targeting one last world title run. Jeff Hardy has had quite the rollercoaster run since joining All Elite Wrestling in March 2022, with him spending most of that time away from television due to battles outside of the ring. Speaking with Muscle Man Malcolm at an MCW Pro Wrestling show this week, Hardy would discuss what he feels his future holds and the targets he is setting himself both in singles and tag team action, and he would say, naturally, the ultimate goal is the AEW World Tag Team Championships. We were so close before I got myself into the hell of a mess that I got myself into. But now that I'm coming out of that, it's within reach, so we're using the Rampage moments to hopefully, eventually create huge Dynamite moments. It's like the last run, the last Hardy Boys run, and I still have hopes deep within my soul that I'm going to have one more solo World Championship title reign. Malcolm would then ask about the possibility of a renewed rivalry with CM Punk, with their initial feud being one of the highlights of both men's careers, something Jeff appears to be open to, and he would say, yeah, I haven't thought about a match that much. I mean, I have a little bit. I just think what I've seen more than anything is there's a huge moment between me and CM Punk because of the history alone. Ultimately, I could see us having another match, and I think it would be bizarre in the best of ways. But what do you think the future holds for Jeff Hardy when it comes to championship gold? And would you like CM Punk to revive yet another of his classic rivalries? Let me know in the comments down below. Oh, and be sure to go and check out the full interview on Muscle Man Malcolm's channel, where Hardy reveals how long he has left inside the squared circle. And next, a main roster world champion is heading to NXT. Over recent months, we've seen a number of main roster superstars work matches on the black and gold brand, including Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins. Another major name is set to make their NXT in-ring return, as today it was announced that WWE Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley is set to take on Lyra Valkyria tonight. The news broke via a social media video, which showed Ripley being interrupted by Lyra, who then issued a brave challenge challenge to WWE's most dominant women's wrestler. An official announcement would then follow to confirm the match, as well as the news that both Rhea Ripley and NXT North American champion Dominic Mysterio will open up the show. But do you think Rhea Ripley will end up on top tonight on NXT? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, Cody Rhodes has revealed what WWE management told him after WrestleMania 39. In April of this year, Cody Rhodes would fall short in his attempt to win the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, with Roman Reigns' successful title defense coming as a shock to the majority of fans. Speaking with Jimmy Traynor on the SI Media podcast this week, Rhodes would open up about the aftermath of his main event loss, revealing that he was advised to stay off social media due to the reaction, and he would say, "I was surprised at how pissed people were. A lot of managerial people in the company reached out to me, checking on me, and also reached out to me to let me know, don't go online, don't go online. I didn't even think to go. It's such an incredibly busy week. There are so many emotions in that experience. I have my family with me. I lost in front of them, which is another level of embarrassment. I didn't even think to go online. Just the fact that they were preparing me and battening down the hatches. This is shaky. People are really frustrated. That surprised me a lot." It remains to be seen if Cody will eventually finish the story and win the big one in WWE, although before he can, he has to get past Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in just under 2 weeks' time. Next up, a top AEW star has signed a brand new contract. In last week's edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was reported that the AEW contract of former ROH World Champion Rush was set to expire in the near future, with there said to be interest from WWE over acquiring his services. It was added that there was an offer on the table from AEW to renew, an offer that was described as far bigger than anyone in NXT was getting, meaning WWE would need to offer main roster money to compete. Well, last night, Rush would take to Twitter to release a video of himself and AEW president Tony Khan putting pen to paper on a new contract, along with a caption that read, "I started a new chapter in my personal and professional career. People doubted I could make it. Today I want to say I'm 100% AEW. Thank you Tony Khan, thank you fans, and thank you my LFI brothers. We can now rule the wrestling world." We now wait to see if this new contract will mean Rush is in for a push going forward, although it's worth remembering that Andrade El Idolo is in the need of some backup in his rivalry with the House of Black, with Rush being a good candidate to help even the odds. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 facts that MJF doesn't want you to know.